evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the open house presentation of the Town of Stonewall Admin Office upgrade. I hope that you will enjoy this presentation, and please, if you may, we're anxious to hear your comments or suggestions. Without further ado, please welcome Wally Melniuk, our CAO, and the presenter for tonight's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that. And as the Mayor has mentioned, we are looking forward to getting some feedback from individuals today with regards to the project. We're very excited about what the project means in terms of this icon of a building that has been in this community for over 100 years and what it potentially can do for the community over the next century. So what is being proposed? You saw there an elevation of what's being proposed. We are looking to do an entire two-story renovation of the existing town office to help modernize the building itself and to expand its usability for staff and for the public. It involves the installation of a new foyer. This is to address accessibility issues. We currently have concerns with the building in terms of our ability to be able to move people between floors. We have a small lift that allows people to come to the main floor of the building, but we have no access to the basement or the second floor. So there'll be an elevator that will be installed as part of this project that will take people to the main, second, and basement levels of the building. The joint foyer that we're creating will also connect both the town and the Armour Rockwood offices. It'll allow staff to use that connection in order to be able to access their buildings. The Armour Rockwood still intends to keep its primary entrance to its building at its current location off of Main Street, but the staff would be able to access in an accessible way the main and basement floors of the RM office through this connected foyer. We're also looking to install washrooms on the main floor of the building, which don't exist today. Again, an issue with regards to accessibility and just usability of the building. Finally, we have, for those who've been in our building, they know that there's an issue with regards to elevations at the front entrance. There's a small step there that has to, or a couple steps that have to be taken. And that entire area was going to be difficult no matter what we did for renovation of the building. And so we are looking to make that a unique piece in this new building or the renovated building. And that is, it's going to be a self-serve museum that would allow us to display artifacts of the area and allow people to enjoy those artifacts as part of this facility. So just to demonstrate a little bit of a floor plan here with regards to the main floor of the building, here's the entryway and the vestibule that you would have seen earlier in the pictures, and then this is the area that we were just showing in the previous slide. The back door is through this direction here, and you see the elevator immediately to the left here. Once you enter into the elevator and go onto the main floor, there's a reception area and the new washrooms that we talked about on the main floor. The rest of the space has been converted to office space, and there's going to be a little video at the end of the presentation that will better explain or demonstrate the use of the space, and so we'll leave the remainder of the discussion on the office space for the video, so you can take a look at that as a in real time sort of in terms of the appearance. But here's the proposed museum that we would look to use the space from the previous main entrance, and again have that as a self-serve opportunity for the space and an opportunity for locals and outsiders to learn a little bit about the history of the community. What's being proposed for the second floor is we want to expand the council chambers and place them on the second floor. The current council chambers are limited in space, and we have seen that over the course of the last number of months with COVID and the need for expanded facilities with distance requirements. The current council chambers has really become not that usable. So an expanded facility would be much better from that perspective. Would give us an opportunity to continue to use the space even in times like the pandemic that we've had for the last little bit. But also we're looking to modernize the information technology and communication equipment within the facility. We know we've struggled a little bit in terms of the communication with residents, and so we want to do a better job of doing that. And the upgrades that are being contemplated for the building would allow us to do that, including the ability to live stream council meetings going forward. We'd also establish on the second floor a fully functioning emergency operations center. This would allow us to ensure that we'd had a center for our emergency measures organization and for emergency response in our community should there be a need to use it, including full backup power. We currently have partial backup power in the building, and so if there's an emergency that does make it difficult for emergency services to use this facility to its full extent, the proposal we're putting forward would address that issue going forward, and we would have a fully functioning EOC in the facility, but also one that could work if there was no power in an emergency. And so here's a diagram, a visual of the second floor. You can see the large council chambers now that would be developed with a larger gallery for individuals to be able to attend. And as a growing community, we think that's an important part of what's being proposed in the project. We have more people who want to attend council meetings. We have the media on a regular basis. We have individuals who come consistently to our meetings, and we want to be able to ensure that our meetings are available and open and ensure people are comfortable in terms of being able to attend those meetings. We have here, as I mentioned earlier, a boardroom, which also converts into our EOC. This would be the area where emergency measures would be run out of. There's also another meeting room and some more office space on the second floor. So why are we considering the project now? Well, accessibility is a significant issue. In the current building, as I've said earlier, we have no washrooms on the main floor. We also have no ability to be able to access the basement or the second floor of the building other than a staircase. And so that's not acceptable in terms of current legislation and current requirements. But there's also a desire to keep the current building relevant, and so we want to look at making this building, the one that has been the icon of the community for the last 100 years, to remain that way and to have it relevant going forward. So that's why we're looking at doing the building now when we have the accessibility issues, and we want to keep the building as a prominent part of the community. We also have a willing partner. So the same issues that face the town in terms of accessibility also face the RM, and they are looking to work with us to address their concerns in terms of accessing the basement in their building and the main floor of their facility with regards to their employees. And so we have someone who's willing to help us and share some of the costs, and we are appreciative of them coming to the table. COVID-19 has exposed the need for us to address both IT and communication issues. We know again that a better job can be done in terms of providing opportunities for individuals to be part of council meetings or to at least view council meetings and to participate as part of them. So this proposal would address those issues, or would ensure that technology would be in place to help improve them. We think there's a need for additional space for council chambers. Again, COVID-19 has demonstrated the fact that the space that we currently have is very limited and not appropriate in many cases when we have incidents like the pandemic, or even when we have large delegations or potentially a large gallery. We really struggle to be able to accommodate them in the space that we currently have. And as a growing community, we think that's something that needs to be addressed. That going forward, we want to ensure that Stonewall is looked on as being very professional, very accommodating to its residents, and that we can put forward the right image to the community, but also to those from outside, that we're here to as a community that's growing and we want to prosper. Have we looked at alternatives? We have. A new building was discussed briefly, but again, the desire here is to keep the current building relevant. And the concern would be that if the town office left this facility and went to a new building, what would happen to the existing building? We are concerned, of course, that if this building was turned over to private hands or otherwise, that it may not get the care and attention that it needs. And of course, we're worried about ensuring its long-term future. We want the current building to remain the cornerstone of the community, and so although we've looked at new building, it was only a very short consideration. We have looked at a partial renovation, in other words, not to extend into the additional foyer area or the add-on to the building. but there's concerns about where the elevator would go. Again, accessibility is one of the main driving points of having this building go forward. So where does the elevator go? There's some concern with regards to the structural integrity of the building if an elevator shaft is placed inside the current envelope of the building. And in the long run, by placing the elevator inside the building, we would probably not have the additional space that we would need or would like to have going forward. So it would mean another renovation down the road sometime. So I'm sure it's something that's of a lot of interest to people that have attended this meeting, and that is, what's the cost? So we've estimated the cost, all inclusive, including professional fees, the furniture and the IT upgrades that would be needed, the audio-visual upgrades that would be needed, some contingencies as well in order to ensure that we have a budget that will allow us to complete the project, to be about $3.9 million. To date, we've spent a couple $100,000 doing some of the work that's needed to be done to get us to the drawings that we have, to get some of the costs in place. And there's also some support that we're looking for from the RM, given that they're going to be joining us on part of that connection cost for the joint foyer. So we'd be looking to borrow about $3.5 million for the project. That has an estimated annual borrowing cost of about $240,000 per year at 3.25% interest over 20 years. Now, the 3.25% is a little high. We can actually borrow money for less than that, but we've put in a little bit of a buffer depending on how long the process takes for us to put everything in place moving forward. So the 3.25 is what we use for the estimate, but we can get money currently for less than that over a 20-year period. To help offset some of the additional costs of the annual debenture payment, Council has committed $70,000 from an annual reserve appropriation that is currently being allocated within the existing mill rate. So this is money that's already being taxed or taxes already being driven for this particular amount in your current tax bill. In addition, there are other areas of cost saving and reduction that we're looking at that will reduce the annual cost by an additional $75,000. So between those two commitments, there's about $145,000 that can come off of or reduce the amount of taxes or additional taxes that would be required to cover the annual borrowing costs. That leaves us a net cost of about $95,000 annually, which translates into about 0.32 of a mil, or about 3%, which further translates into about a $45 annual cost to the average home in Stonewall. So you'd be looking to pay about $50 a year for the next 20 years in order for the building to go forward. So what's next? Well, depending on the response from this meeting and the community's input going forward, construction could start as early as this summer. Work is being done, as we said, by our architects, and we've got some design drawings that will continue to move forward. And so work could start as early as this summer. Construction is expected to last about 12 to 15 months, so we'd be out of the building for a period of probably a year or maybe a little bit more than that. And while the building is going on, because it's so extensive, the town administration would move to the former post office building, and we would be housed out of that facility for the time period of the construction. Within the $3.9 million that I spoke about in the last slide, we've also included an amount of money to help us do some upgrades to the post office building to allow the administration office to be there. So upgrading some electrical, upgrading some mechanical, that's already in the cost of that we've identified on the previous page with regards to the overall cost of the project. So feedback. Council is looking for feedback on the proposal. We've given you a little bit of information here. We're asking for submissions back to Council by March the 5th, and that Council would like to review those submissions and then see what the steps forward are, or what the next steps are with regards to this project. We'd ask that you submit those in writing to info@stonewall.ca, or if you'd like, the drop box at the front door of the town office could also be used to provide your comments. And we're looking for feedback on all aspects, the design, the cost, all of it, and the Council would like to hear from the residents to see exactly what they think of the project that's being proposed. We have next a video that we'd like to show everyone, kind of a virtual walkthrough of the building. It's about 15 minutes or so, maybe 13 to 15 minutes in length. I'd like you to view that, and then when that's over, we'll finish up the presentation for today. So we'll move on to the video, and everyone enjoy. So thank you everyone for attending tonight. We really look forward to your feedback. We hope you're as excited about this project as we are, and Council is looking forward to getting some response back from individuals about what they saw tonight. This presentation has been recorded, and we will be placing it on our website so that you can go back over the course of the next couple of weeks and review the information if you like again. Please tell your neighbors and your friends about it as well, so they can have a chance to look at it, and please provide us feedback on what you think about the project. Thank you very much again, and good night everyone. We'll hope to hear from you.
Good night, everyone, and thank you all.